You're to rescue DARPA Chief Donald Anderson and the President of ArmsTech, Kenneth Baker.
The Chief, what happened?
It looked like a heart attack.
A person very dear to me is being held hostage.
Who is it?
My niece, Meryl.
That's Psycho Mantis, former KGB psychic. He has powerful psychokinetic and telepathic abilities.
Colonel, your niece is going to be okay.
Thanks, Snake. I owe you one. It's a trap. A sniper's trick to lure you out.
It must be sniperable.
There definitely is a resemblance, don't you think, brother?
After this, Snake asks Naomi to talk to him to keep his mind off the pain. He asks Naomi about her family, but she says it's not a happy topic. He eases her into the topic by telling her that he has no family either, except for one person. Remember on the Metal Gear 2 video of this series that I made, when I told you guys that Big Boss told Snake something that would change his life, but I wasn't going to tell you because it's retconned later on? And he dies a war criminal, much like his own mentor before him. Before his death, Big Boss shared a secret with Snake. A secret which would haunt him for the rest of his life. A secret which was retconned in the next game, so I won't reveal it until then. Well, here it is. According to Snake, Big Boss told him that before dying, that he was his father. This, of course, never actually happened, but they added it into the story in this game. When Snake told Naomi this, she was shocked at the fact that he was able to kill Big Boss even knowing that he was his father. He told her that this was the trauma of his life, and that this was the reason he retired and moved to Alaska. The plot thickens. Naomi then begins talking about her past. She said that she only had an older brother that put her through school who was much older than her, but he's dead. When Naomi asks Snake if he has any friends, he mentions Roy Campbell, making Campbell happy that despite everything, he still calls him a friend. He then said that aside from Campbell, he's only had one other person he's called a friend, that being Frank Yeager, Gray Fox, Big Boss's most trusted lieutenant. Snake said that he learned a lot from him. Naomi was puzzled as they both tried to kill each other, but Snake tells her that they were simply soldiers fighting on different sides, and that it was nothing personal, saying that war is no reason to end a friendship. Naomi reveals that she got interested in genetics because she never knew who her parents were, and she wanted to know why she was the way she was, believing that she could learn more about herself and about other people by learning about their DNA. Finally, after all of this, Snake calls Otacon for help to getting out of the cell. Otacon arrives some time later after the guard patrolling Snake's cell goes to the bathroom. However, all he does is bring him some rations, ketchup, and a handkerchief from Sniper Wolf, who has apparently become friendly with Otacon because he takes care of her wolves. Otacon said that because she likes dogs and she's nice to him, she must be a good person, and asks Snake not to hurt her. And Snake reacts, well, appropriately.
Wake up, you idiot. She's the one who shot Meryl.
Snake tells Otacon to get the key from the guard in the bathroom, but Otacon says that he can't take him out because he's not a fighter. When the guard returns, Otacon gets invisible again and leaves. At this point, the player can lay down and use the ketchup to make it look like Snake is dead, causing the guard to enter the cell, giving Snake a chance to escape. If the player screws up this opportunity, the ninja, Gray Fox, comes to help him instead and disappears without a word. Finally, Snake exits the cell, gets his stuff back, and leaves the torture chamber, only to realize that he's back at the tank hangar. So he heads all the way back to the corridor, leading to the communications tower. On his way there, Campbell calls Snake to talk about Meryl. Snake tells him that she wasn't ready for real combat and that he regrets pushing her so hard. Master Miller and Mei Ling jump in and tell him not to push himself so hard and that it's very unlike him. Did you forget that they existed? Naomi jumps in and asks why Meryl means so much to Snake. He tries to avoid the answer by saying that she's a war buddy and that there aren't many tomboys like her. She continues to ask him, telling him that that's not what she meant. And then he mentions that she's Campbell's niece and that's why he cares about her. Snake doesn't like feelings. When she asks him again, Snake says that he feels like he's in a police interrogation, causing Campbell to make a joke about Naomi's grandfather, whom Naomi said was an assistant secretary in the FBI. Naomi nervously confirms this, saying he was Japanese and became a special interrogator to nab the mafia. Miller jumps in and starts questioning Naomi about this, asking her when and where this was. She nervously said that it was sometime in the 50s in New York, but she wasn't sure of her answers. Snake then points out that Naomi said she didn't know anything about her family, but she tells him that she did some research when she was an adult and found out about her grandfather only after he had died. Solid Snake continues to the communications towers, but soon after he enters, Snake picks up a rope and runs upstairs. When he reaches the top, Snake heads up some ladders to the roof of the first tower. There, he would cross a bridge to get to the roof of the second tower. However, as he tries to cross it, missiles blow up the bridge he was supposed to cross. The missiles come from a Hind D piloted by Liquid. Thinking on his feet, Snake ties up the rope he found to the rails on the edge of the roof and rappels down to the lower floor of the tower. Snake crosses a catwalk connecting the two towers and makes it to the second tower. However, he needs to go to the bottom of the tower to get to the underground maintenance base. In the tower, he finds a ground-to-air Stinger missile, which will come in handy if he runs into the Hind D again. Snake heads to the elevator, but it won't go up to his floor, so Snake is forced to take the long way around through the stairs. When he gets to the first floor, however, he finds that the stairs are destroyed, so he makes his way back up, where he finds Otacon and his optic camo. Otacon tells him that he used the elevator to get up to where they are, which Snake found strange as it didn't work when he tried it. After Otacon asks Snake a totally time-inappropriate and stupid question.
Have you ever loved someone?
That's what you came to ask.
I was wondering if even soldiers fall in love.
What are you trying to say?
Think love can bloom even on a battlefield?
Snake asks Otacon to fix the elevator for him. Meanwhile, he went upstairs to the roof of the second tower in order to, quote-unquote, swat a noisy fly. When he gets there, Liquid is waiting for him inside the Hind D. What the fuck was he doing this whole time? When Liquid calls him brother again, Snake asks,
Why are you calling me brother? Who the hell are you?
To which Liquid responds,
I'm you! I'm your shadow!
When Snake asks what he means, he simply tells Snake,
Ask the father that you killed! I'll send you to hell to meet him!
Beginning the fight. After blowing up half of the roof and shooting many Stinger missiles, Snake dodges Liquid's final attack and shoots the final shot at the Hind D, causing it to explode and crash. Otacon calls Snake to let him know that the elevator is moving again. After this, Snake makes it to the snowfield, which leads to the underground maintenance building. There, however, he is shot by Sniper Wolf from a distance too far away for Snake to see her. Otacon calls him to see if he's okay, and then begs Snake not to kill Wolf. Solid Snake tells Otacon that Wolf is not a good person and that he is crazy for believing so. After Wolf intercepts their call and taunts him, their battle begins. After a long fight, Wolf and Snake come to a standoff. However, Wolf is badly hurt. Snake tries to quickly jump out and shoot her, but she shoots the rifle off of his hands. Right as she's about to deliver the final blow, Snake leaps back and grabs the sniper, and then they both fire, resulting in Wolf's collapse with a bullet in her lung. Snake heads over to her and hears her mandatory bad guy speech of a traumatic childhood. Wolf tells Snake that as a Kurd, she was born and raised in the battlefield, going place to place, never having a real home, as she and her people were constantly hunted. And every morning she would find more of her friends dead. She mentioned a man who rescued her and took her away from all of that. That's when she became a sniper. This man's name was Saladin. Apparently this was one of Big Boss's many names in his many years of war. Wolf was just one of the many war orphans he rescued and turned into a soldier. Wolf said that that she only joined Liquid's rebellion to take her revenge on the world, as the superpowers of the world turned their backs on her people as they were being hunted. But now she sees that she has shamed herself and her people, and she is no longer the wolf she was born to be, saying that she is nothing more than a dog. After Snake gives Wolf a speech to reassure her that she is still a proud wolf, a speech that I won't repeat because it honestly doesn't make much sense, Wolf asks Snake who he is and if he's Saladin, seeing the resemblance between Big Boss and Snake. Solid Snake asks Wolf why she spared Meryl, and she tells him that she doesn't kill for sport. Otacon then appears out of nowhere, asking her why she had to do this and telling her that he loved her. Jesus, Stockholm Syndrome much. After Otacon gives Wolf her sniper rifle, Snake puts her out of her misery. Snake tells Otacon that he's going down into the underground base as they're almost out of time, and he tells him that he will have to protect himself from now on. As Snake walks away, Otacon asks him,
What was she fighting for? What am I fighting for? What are you fighting for?
And Snake tells him,
If we make it through this, I'll tell you.
He never tells him. Before heading to the room which leads to the underground maintenance building, Snake notices a parachute on a tree next to the towers and next to the wreckage of the Hind D, signifying that Liquid was still alive. Snake makes his way to the underground maintenance base to reach the hangar where Rex is being kept. On his way there, he gets a call from Miller, telling him that he has some information about Naomi Hunter. He asks Snake if the conversation is secure, as he didn't want Campbell or anyone else hearing what he had to say. Apparently, Miller had suspicions about Naomi, as the story of her grandfather had too many flaws. After doing some research, he realized that it was all a lie. He said that during the time she said her Japanese grandfather was in the FBI, there wasn't a single Asian FBI agent, most likely due to racism after World War II. Also, the undercover mafia sting operations hadn't even started in the 50s, they started in the 60s in Chicago, not New York. Wondering why she would lie about her past, he concludes that it's possible she's a spy. He tells Snake to be careful, as he believes that there are too many strange things happening with the DARPA chief and Kenneth Baker dying, and with Grey Fox somehow making it inside the base, and that Naomi may have something to do with all of this. Snake makes it to a frozen warehouse where he encounters Vulcan Raven once again. Raven mentions that the battle in the tank was no true battle, and that he was just testing him, which makes sense since Liquid needed Snake's DNA. After some really meaningless banter, Vulcan Raven and Snake engage in battle. This time, Raven demonstrates where he got his codename, as he's equipped with a Vulcan cannon. After the long fight, in which Snake has to outsmart his opponent by sneaking up behind him and placing C4s and Claymore mines on the ground, lest he be shredded to pieces, Snake comes out victorious. Raven leans on a wall, bloodied and defeated. After some mumbo-jumbo about returning to Mother Earth after being eaten by the Ravens, he tells Snake something which should clear some things up. The man that Snake saw die in front of him in the prison of the tank hangar, the man he thought was a DARPA chief, was actually Decoy Octopus. Decoy Octopus disguises himself as someone by using a mask designed to look like the target. This mask perfectly fits him since Decoy Octopus went through surgery to cut off his ears and shave his nose down. He even replaces his blood with the target's blood, which is why Snake's radar picked the DARPA chief's transmitter in Decoy Octopus, because his transmitter was in the nanomachines in his bloodstream. This is why Liquid kept saying that Ocelot screwed up with the DARPA chief. Apparently Ocelot accidentally killed the DARPA chief long before Snake arrived during his interrogation. This is why the chief's body was already decomposing and why it was drained of all its blood. Why would they do this? Well, the plot thickens. Raven says that despite his disguise, he wasn't able to deceive the Angel of Death, which is why he died. But he doesn't go into detail about what he means. After this, the Ravens start eating away at Vulcan Raven's body as Snake walks away. Raven stands calmly as the Ravens eat his body, gotta say pretty badass, and tells Snake that in the natural world there is no such thing as boundless slaughter. There is always an end to it, but Snake is different. He says that the path Snake walks on has no end, and that no matter how many corpses he walks on and how far he walks, the killing in his life will never end. It's a future with no hope, and Snake will never see peace. As he utters his final words, the Ravens completely eat his body. Apparently, Ravens like to eat bones. And Snake leaves the room. Miller then calls Snake about Naomi again, but before he could secure the call, Campbell jumps in and asks what it is that he wants to say about Naomi. So Miller is forced to let Campbell in. Apparently, the identity of Naomi Hunter was the identity of some woman who disappeared in the Middle East some time ago. This Naomi Hunter must have somehow acquired the original Naomi Hunter's ID papers. Miller believes that since she's part of Foxhound, it's possible that she had part in Liquid's uprising, or that it's possible she's working with an entirely different group. Miller tells Campbell to place her under arrest and to interrogate her. Then, Master Miller asks Campbell if he has let Naomi into any vital secret having to do with the mysterious deaths of the DARPA chief, that is Decoy Octopus, and Kenneth Baker. But Campbell has nothing to say about this, making Snake suspicious. Finally, Snake reaches the control room where Rex is being stored. He begins to make his way up some ladders, through some catwalks, and over Rex to get to the control room where the control panel is, where the PAL override keys have to be used. On his way there, Otacon calls him and tells him that the terrorists have finished prepping Rex. They also say that they had already input the PAL codes, meaning that Snake has to use the PAL override keys Baker told him about. We kind of already knew that, but... However, he still only has one key, and doesn't know what the trick that Ocelot mentioned to using them is. So Otacon tells Snake that he's going to try and hack into Baker's files to try and find out how to use the keys. Sometime later, Otacon calls again and tells him that he managed to hack into Baker's files. Although he had yet to find anything on the PAL override system, he found out what the secret behind the new nuclear weapon was. It's a weapon designed to be fired from the railgun, meaning it doesn't need fuel, so it's not considered a missile, which allows it to get past many international treaties. Not just that, but it's also a stealth weapon, meaning it can't be picked up by radar. Finally, it's designed to penetrate hardened enemy bases. All of that info, along with the capabilities of Rex on its own, makes Otacon conclude that this weapon could mean the end of the world. This is why the US wanted to keep it a secret, as having a weapon like this could cause the UN to denounce the USA as a whole, and ruins the president's reputation. Apparently Campbell knew of all of this, causing Snake to disappointedly tell him that he has changed. Otacon mentions that the test they ran on this weapon seems to have gone well, but he can't find the test data anywhere. When Snake tells him that it's all in the optical disc that Baker gave him, Campbell quickly asks him,
What? Do you still have it?
but apparently Ocelot took it from him during his interrogation. While Otacon continues to search all over Baker's files, Snake makes it to the control room. However, both Liquid and Ocelot are already there. He overhears them talking about firing the nuke since the US won't give in to their demands. However, instead of targeting Russia, which was their original target, Liquid tells them to target China. He says that he doesn't think Ocelot or Gorlukovich, an associate of Ocelot who is barely mentioned in this game, but makes a cameo in the next one, would like to see a nuke dropped in their motherland. Remember, in Metal Gear Solid 3, Ocelot had the double identity of a Russian. Not just that, but the specific area in China they're targeting is a nuclear test site, meaning there's nothing there, so it can still be hidden. If they nuke a major population center, they wouldn't gain anything, as they would just retaliate against them. That would be the end game right there. By firing a nuke at a test site in China, they can show off their capabilities without causing too much of a stir. On top of all that, it would cause the president to begin having secret talks to the Chinese leader in fear of a retaliatory strike. This would cause the president to reveal the existence of Rex and the new secret nuclear weapon. At this point, Liquid predicts that this would cause countries and groups everywhere to contact them about this new weapon, and the president wouldn't be very happy about Liquid selling the US's newest weapon to the highest bidder. With all of these things combined, Liquid believes that the president will break. They will get their $1 billion and Big Boss's body. Liquid says that the $1 billion would be used to cure the Genome soldiers. He adds that he is including the vaccine for something called Fox Dye, to which Ocelot recalls that Fox Dye is what killed Octopus and Baker. So whatever Fox Dye is, it caused both of them, Octopus and Baker, to have heart attacks, conveniently after meeting up with Snake. Apparently, this Fox Dye affects older people first, and it's possible Mantis hasn't been affected because he wore a mask. It's also possible that the medicine Wolf always took is what made her immune to it as well. So whatever Fox Dye is some kind of virus. Ocelot mentioned that they must have been desperate deploying an underdevelopment weapon like Fox Dye into live combat, which is what made it so unreliable and why it seemed to have so many flaws affecting the people it's supposed to affect, they being the United States. So whatever Fox Dye is, it's some kind of weaponized virus that causes a heart attack. Alright. Liquid mentions this Sergei Gorlukovich man again, asking Ocelot if he has responded. Ocelot said that apparently Gorlukovich still doubts Rex's capabilities and will only respond once he sees that it does indeed work. Apparently, he wants to make Russia a military superpower again, the military superpower, and they believe that having a weapon like Rex and the new nuclear weapon on their side would help in this endeavor. Liquid laughs at the idea that the Russians could possibly regain their military powers, which is in shambles, with only one weapon. And Ocelot reveals that most of the firepower that Liquid and his men have comes from Gorlukovich. So from the looks of it, this Sergei Gorlukovich is Liquid's benefactor, and in return, he wants Rex for Russia when this is all over. Liquid starts to think out loud. Connecting the dots, he says that an alliance with the Russians would not only boost the morale of the Genome soldiers, whose morale had fallen since Mantis' brainwashing started wearing off since he died, but also, with that much manpower, they could form a strong resistance in Shadow Moses. Liquid tells Ocelot that they're not going anywhere, that they're gonna hole up in Shadow Moses and make their stand there along with Gorlukovich, who's in command of thousands of soldiers. Ocelot asks him if he's planning to fight the whole world, and Liquid asks, and what's wrong with that, fighting the whole world? Liquid goes on to mention that within Shadow Moses, they can launch an invisible nuclear warhead that can't be intercepted to any target in the planet. And Shadow Moses is full of spare nuclear warheads in the nuclear warhead disposal facility. So Liquid tells Ocelot that once they get Big Boss's DNA and the money, the world will be theirs, and that he has no interest in reviving Mother Russia. Instead, he was going to revive Big Boss's dream.
From today, you can call this place Outer Heaven.
Big Boss's dream.